All right, welcome back. I hope this microphone is a bit better. So let's see. Today I'm going to walk you through the framework itself, just for contributors mostly, but also for anyone who's interested. We're starting off with a bin folder, which contains all the binaries you can actually run from your command line when you install the framework. IAB is the new standard starting from 2.8, which is not live yet, but will be the only available command line tool in 3.0.0. Those files are all very small, they just include a different file in sources CLI. The coverage folder won't be there for you unless you run unit or integration tests. Fixtures is a folder that contains services and folders that help test. So in this case, they are just test related. That's why they are green here. Similar for integrations, that is files that contain test code. That is usually tests that run a bit longer and test a huge amount of the software at once. We have the language files. That is where all the translation go. They are YAML, so easy to edit, easy to contribute to. Node modules is the library root, so that is where all the requirements go. Source is something I'm going to tackle a bit later because it's big. So let's go on to test. Test is a unit test folder actually. It follows the same structure as the units under test, which are the files in source. Tools contains some JavaScript files that help generate stuff or remove stuff in a manner that is cross-system capable. Typings in that case is just a help from your ln code because that thing lacks types. So we just defined our own ones for that. While the worker directory is the entry point for workers, so to speak, threads that are being run in the background when you execute the code with the framework. So going back to the remaining files, the most interesting one is the index.ts, which is the file you would include if you are using the framework to build your own tests. It pretty much exports everything we think could be useful to you. So free to use it. It should be pretty clear what these things are for because their naming is pretty, well, usual. Going back to source, we do have a couple of things in the main folder, which is mostly things that didn't get cleaned up yet, because we are making sure that we don't break backwards compatibility with people who have included files directly from the source folder before the index.ts was as capable as it is now. The worker folder is the folder that contains anything that is run within threads, including interfaces, including a factory. The storage folder is a growing folder that is currently taking care of MySQL storage, will soon be taking care of PostgreSQL and Microsoft SQL as well. The reporter folder contains all the reporters you may need, or the outputs that you can generate directly on the file system or on the command line, with one exception, that is the internal reporter, which is used by the IAB command to receive data about stuff that it is running in the background. So don't use that one yourself, assuming you don't use all the reporters and need the information. Report modifiers can be added. They modify the times that are listed in the reports. So for example, you can round and you can timescale them. Progress contains a progress bar and a no progress bar option, which can be exchanged within the main run method that you can use. Middlewares is the one folder that is most interesting to most people here, because that is all the middlewares you can use to either prepare a request or to validate a request or to post-process a request. So for example, it handles CSRF headers, it handles cookies, there's access token handling pre-built. Messaging is a small folder that is for the workers mostly. That is functionality that is handling the between worker communication. Logger contains loggers for the bigger loggers in the Node.js environment, so Winston and Pino in this case, as well as a console logger. Locales is generated, that is the languages and language-related files. This folder makes sure we get auto-completion while developing, and we get actual errors when trying to compile something with missing translations. Helper is everything that I moved into a folder where I wasn't sure where to put it, which is going to be cleaned up with 3.0. That has things like static implements, like the user agent generating default includes and function analyzers, for example, as well as a default reporter, which is just collecting all reporters that there are and uses them. And last but not least, we are going to the CLI folder, which contains the actual endpoints that are run from bin and that are available to your command line. Most of the things you will see from 3.0 onwards and from 2.8 onwards will be in the CLI tool, while bench, check routes, and loader are the older ones that are deprecated with 2.8 and will be removed with 3.0. So if you're building something new, try using CLI or actually IAB. So that was the short jump through the code. I hope it helps someone, and I hope it was interesting enough for you to recommend it and to help contributing. Maybe just translate something.